If you are a seeker of truth, then you have found it. The Urantia book is the fifth epochal revelation to this planet in our time of darkness. But remember, a book tightly shut is merely a block of wood. This is about taking these words and then doing something with them. And in doing so, we will feel the spiritual uplift, the illumination, the peace, which passes all understanding. We are on page 1212. Please like and subscribe if you hadn't already. We are looking at the attainment of immortality. It's kind of a long paper, so I am just going to get right into it, and we will explain what we need to. The first part of this has a lot of terminology that they explain in other parts of the book. I'm not going to get too much into it. They're not really the important aspects of this that might be searing to people. Later on, it goes on to explain much more kind of searing information about this. So we'll start off with the attainment of immortality. The achievement of the 7 cosmic circles does not equal adjuster fusion. That simply means the spirit fragment that dwells within you. And these 7 cosmic circles just mean more spiritual attainment, various levels of that spiritual attainment. Fusion, that is when you become immortal. When you fuse with this fragment of divinity that is within you, you will never have an ending in the universe. There are many mortals living on Urantia, this planet, who have attained their circles. But fusion depends on yet other greater and more sublime spiritual achievements, upon the attainment of a final and complete attunement of the mortal will with the will of God, as it is resident in the thought adjuster. So we need to completely attune ourselves, become at one with that will of God, even though we've become very spiritual, and many have, until we are no longer even capable of choosing from our lower nature in any one of these even minor choices. We will not fuse. When a human being has completed the circles of cosmic achievement, and further, when the final choosing of the mortal will permits the adjuster to complete the association of human identity with the morontial soul, that is the evolving aspect of us. The soul is different from the spirit. That is evolving as we make our choices. During evolutionary and physical life, then do such consummated liaisons of soul and adjuster go on independently to the mansion worlds. We don't need a resurrection if you fuse during this life. You just go. And there is issued the mandate from Uversa, which is a universe capital, which provides for the immediate fusion of the adjuster and the morontial soul. This fusion during physical life instantly consumes the material body. The human beings who might witness such a spectacle would only observe the translating mortal disappear in chariots of fire. This is a normal occurrence on normal planets, that they leave directly, and they don't even leave behind a physical body. They're consumed in these chariots of fire. It has happened on our planet. The Bible mentions one being maybe an Ezekiel or an Enoch or something. I think that's where they get this quote from. So if you're on the planet here, folks, and you haven't been consumed, you just don't need, when you fuse, there's nothing left for you here on this planet. There's no more learning to be desired. So if you're still here, you haven't fused. Most adjusters who have translated their subject from Urantia were highly experienced and of record as previous indwellers of numerous mortals on other spheres. Remember, adjusters gain valuable indwelling experience on planets of the lone order. It does not follow that adjusters only gain experience for advanced work in those mortals subjects who fail to survive. So some people have virgin adjusters, which have never indwelt the mind of another being. Others have experienced ones. The experience can be gained not only from mortals who choose to reject it and fail to survive, but also from planets where there's not even an option to accept or reject. It's more of a lone type of situation. Subsequent to mortal fusion, the adjusters share your destiny and experience. They are you. After the fusion of the immortal morontial soul and the associated adjuster, all of the experience and all of the values of one eventually become the possession of the other, so that the two are actually one entity. So it's a merger of the soul and spirit there. In certain sense, this new beginning, or this new being, is of the eternal past as well as for the eternal future. All that was once human in the surviving soul and all that is experientially divine in the adjuster now become the actual possession of the new and ever-ascending universe personality. So you're a new personality at that point. But on each universe level, the adjuster can endow the new creature only with those attributes which are meaningful in the value on that level. An absolute oneness with the divine monitor, a complete exhaustion of the endowment of an adjuster, can only be achieved in eternity subsequent to the final attainment of the universal Father, the Father of Spirit, ever the source of these divine gifts. So at that point, it's no longer the teacher, right? Up until that point, up until attaining the Godhead, let's call that, this adjuster is the teacher. But when the evolving soul and the divine adjuster are finally and eternally fused, each gains all of the experienceable qualities of the other. This coordinate personality possesses all the experiential memory of survival once held by the ancestral mortal mind and then resident in the Morancha soul. And in addition thereto, this potential finalizer embraces all the experiential memory of the adjuster throughout the mortal indwellings of all time. So you will remember your relatives. You will remember even your experience down here on this planet. It is a different teaching than reincarnation, in which you forget, for some reason that does not make sense to me, why you would want to forget third grade if you were going into fourth grade. Having that memory would make you much more prepared. This isn't a game. This is about achievement. So why wouldn't a divine being want a mortal human to have every tool available to them to achieve? Memory of your past mistakes, your past, is important tool in that achievement. But it will require an eternity of the future for an adjuster ever completely to endow the personality partnership with the meanings and values which the divine monitor carries forward from the eternity of the past. So we're talking about an eternal event here. This isn't rush, try to get it now. But delay is not avoidance. It is merely delay. The more that we delay this type of thing is the more that we have to struggle with our lower natures, and to experience the inevitable consequences of that, be they material pain, emotional pain, and that sort of thing. This is about deliverance from that. And remember, Jesus taught that the eternity in which that we can then go forth and master this is a faith requirement, or faith is required to attain that eternity. So that's where his teaching comes in. He was correct. Faith will give you don't have to fuse in order to experience the Morancha state. You're resurrected based on just the mercy. But then during that state, that is when you put forth the mastery, which will help you advance in this universe career. But the faith is just basically like the ticket to entry. But with the vast majority of Urantians, the adjuster must patiently await the arrival of death deliverance. So must await the liberation of the emerging soul from the well-nigh complete domination of the energy patterns and chemical forces inherent in your material order of existence. So we have these this is chemical. This is something that could be a chemical addiction, a pattern of like thought, a pattern of depression, something like that, which is preventing us to actually experience this type of contact. But it's based, because we have this, we can override those patterns, but it really takes a consecration of will on this planet to say, no, I'm not going to be addicted to the food or the cigarettes or whatever. The chief difficulty you experience in contacting your adjusters consists in this very inherent material nature. So it's not like the gods are surprised about all of this happening. They know we have material nature. This isn't a surprise. This is kindergarten here in this planet. So few mortals are real thinkers. You do not spiritually develop and discipline your minds to the point of favorable liaison with the divine adjusters. That's where the Eastern has it right. The Eastern religions have it right about that discipline of mind, so that we can hear this liaison. We can actually have it be a part of our lives rather than just this faith or fleeting type of thing. The ear of the human mind is almost deaf to the spiritual pleas which the adjuster translates from the manifold messages of the universal broadcasts of love proceeding from the universal Father of mercies. It's happening all the time. It's about attunement, right? If you can attune to it, then you're going to feel that blissful, loving state, which is constantly proceeding. The adjuster finds it almost impossible to register these inspired spirit leadings in an animal mind so completely dominated by the chemical and electrical forces inherent in your physical natures. So don't beat yourself up if you have that, folks. It's so inherent. In fact, beating yourself up is going to delay it even more, because that's going to be a new chemical pattern. This, oh, I'm such a terrible being, such a terrible person, which is going to even delay that even more. So it's about letting it go, relaxing and flowing, and realizing that this could be an eternity event here, folks. And if you just accept that and let go of that, then it will happen even quicker. Adjusters rejoice to make contact with the mortal mind, but they must be patient through the long years of silent sojourn during which they are unable to break through animal resistance and directly communicate with you. The higher the thought adjusters ascend in the scale of service, the more efficient they become, but never can they greet you in the flesh with the same full, sympathetic, and expressionful affection as they will when you discern them mind to mind on the mansion worlds, because we have a completely different, it's not material types of chemical type stuff, they're Morancha materials. It's different. During the mortal life, the material body and mind separate you from your adjuster and prevent from free communication. Subsequent to death, after the eternal fusion, you and the adjuster are one. That is after eternal fusion. It doesn't just mean you die. Remember, a good one-liner. We pick up on the other side with this progression where we leave off here. Death doesn't help advance you in the progression at all. You still have to make the choices. You still have to use your free will in order to make this fusion happen. You and the adjuster one, you are not distinguishable as separate beings, and thus there exists no need for communication as you would understand it. But until then, there is communication as we understand it. Well, there can be. While the voice of the adjuster is ever within you, most of you will hear it seldom during the lifetime. Human beings below the third and second circles, those psychic circles, which are the guide kind of markings of spiritual ascent, of attainment, rarely hear the adjuster's direct voice except in moments of supreme desire, in a supreme situation, and consequent upon a supreme decision. And if you have to question it, if you have to say, well, geez, I don't know if that felt like I communed with the adjuster or not, then you haven't. It will be so outrageously mind-blowing for you. It will feel as if somebody had given you 100 hits of LSD and acid, but that's such a terrible example because those are muddling things of the mind. But it's this profound, like, whoa, and it's just so clear and blissful. You can attain that. But if you say, geez, I don't know if that was, and that's why when people come away from a psychedelic experience, they say, geez, I don't know if it was the drugs or not. That's exactly the purpose. This is about clarity. This is about discipline. Because if you aren't clear and you aren't disciplined and you're using some sort of substance to attain this, you can always question it and say, I don't know, it could have been the drugs, Now, let's go on. During the making and breaking of a contact between the mortal mind of a destiny reservist and the planetary supervisors, sometimes the indwelling adjuster is so situated that it becomes possible to transmit a message to the mortal partner. Not long since on Urantia, such a message was transmitted by a self-acting adjuster to a human associate, a member of the Reserve Corps of Destiny. This message was introduced by these words. So this is a direct contact here. And now, without injury or jeopardy to the subject of my solicitous devotion, and without intent to over chastise or discourage. Remember that. People I often find that they feel like this is some sort of chastising thing. If a being is trying to uplift you and say, hey, that whole addictive coffee thing that you do, or this XYZ, this isn't me saying this because I have these human foibles myself. This is the adjuster that's saying this. When it says that, it's not chastising. It's like, oh, I'm going to reject the Urantia book because it's trying to help me get over my addictions. That's that unbridled personal liberty, which is actually the rallying cry of the Lucifer Manifesto. Unbridled. I can do whatever I want because I'm me, I can do it. This is saying, no, we are trying to have cooperation here. For me, make record of this my plea to him. Then followed a beautifully touching and appealing admonition. Among other things, the adjuster pleaded that he more faithfully give me his sin. And remember, this can be directly said to me, it can be directly said to you right now at this juncture. That he more faithfully give me his sincere cooperation, more cheerfully endure the tasks of my emplacement, more faithfully carry out the program of my arrangement, more patiently go through the trials of my selection, more persistently and cheerfully tread the path of my choosing, more humbly receive credit that may accrue as the result of my ceaseless endeavors. Thus transmit my admonition to the man of my indwelling. Upon him I bestow the supreme devotion. Imagine being imprisoned in the mind of a being who is completely, not even working with you, and affection of a divine spirit. And say further to my beloved subject that I will function with wisdom and power until the very end, until the last earth struggle is over. I will be true to my personality trust, and I exhort him to survival, not to disappoint me, not to deprive me of the reward of my patient and intense struggle. On the human will, our achievement of personality depends. Circle by circle, I have patiently ascended this human mind, and I have testimony that I am meeting the approval of the chief of my kind. Circle by circle, I am passing on to judgment. I await with pleasure and without apprehension the roll call of destiny. I am prepared to submit all to the tribunals of the ancients of days. See, we're dealing with perfection here, folks. It's not your intention, like, geez, I wanted to do this, but I just, no, it really doesn't cut it. This is about action. This is about doing, okay, eventually. But remember, it's relaxed and flowing. So you have to take both of these mentalities into proportion. It's not just one or other. It's not either I have to beat myself up and try to ascend spiritually every single day. And it's also not, whatever happens is whatever happens. There's a real progression here, folks. And it's circle by circle. It's choice by choice, down to the small things of diet that we make every single day. That's one of the most practical choices that we make every single day. Why wouldn't a spiritual being be concerned with that? Why? That's going to be a cloudy chemical, alcohol, all of those different types of things. This is truly how we will feel this ascension. And until then, hey, it can be faith. That's fine. That's fine. Faith is fine. Go for it. But, like I said, there's always going to be that inevitable type of consequence. Medical bills, hospital visits, lying in that hospital saying, oh, I wish I hadn't smoked so much because now my lungs aren't functioning. All that type of stuff. Remember, God is practical. The spiritual search and ascension is practical as well. It's not some sort of magical thinking. Okay? It's all tied in. Physical, chemical, mental, personal, spiritual. All right, folks, that is it. I thought that was a very informative paper. Please like and subscribe. The Attainment of Immortality, Fusion with the Adjuster. You can do it during this life, or, hey, you can take longer. Delay is not avoidance. It is merely delay. All right, folks, take care.